Episode 25, Party of One. In my opinion, this is one of the funniest episodes of Season 1, but that might be because Pinkie Pie is the main character, and as we know, she is the element of laughter. The episode starts with Pinkie visiting Twilight, sending her a singing telegram inviting her to a party. That party being celebrating her pet alligator Gummy's first birthday. She sends this telegram to the other main characters and has a costume change for each. She also gets progressively more tired the more she has to do this. I guess even she doesn't have that much energy. She should also be glad that Gummy doesn't have any teeth. After she's finished, Pinkie just decides that next time she'll just hand out written invitations. We then see the main six at Gummy's birthday party, and everyone's having a good time. Even Gummy. The other main characters even acknowledge that Pinkie Pie throws the best parties. The other main characters leave, all having had a great time, and Twilight even says they should do this again soon, which of course gives Pinkie the idea to throw another party. The theme of this party being Gummy's after-birthday party, and Pinkie also stuck to her new plan of just handing out written invitations. However, when Twilight learns that the party is this afternoon, she says she can't come, her excuse being that she's behind on her studies. Pinkie understands though, and goes to hand out the rest of the invitations. She goes to Applejack next. Applejack, however, says she can't come either because she has to pick apples, despite the fact that she's already picked 3 carriages full. However, I do think that's a decent excuse because, well, she does work on an apple farm. Next we see Rarity is using Spike for slave labor, again making me wonder if these ponies adhere to child labor laws. Then Pinkie appears, inviting Rarity to the party as well. Rarity also feels the need to make an excuse when she hears that the party is this afternoon. Rarity has the lamest excuse so far. She says she has to wash her hair. Not the first time I've heard that one. Pinkie points out that Rarity's hair isn't dirty, but then Rarity does something completely unexpected. She actually ducks her head in the garbage to make her hair dirty. Rarity then uses this as an excuse to run inside and wash her hair. Pinkie goes to speak to Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy next. However, after hearing that the party is this afternoon, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy say they can't come either. And their excuse is probably the funniest. They say they can't come because they're house-sitting for a bear, or rather, cave-sitting for a bear. Interestingly enough, Pinkie Pie only believes Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy's story, and wonders what is the odds of all her other friends having plans as well. Which makes Pinkie Pie suspicious over what is really going on. She gets even more suspicious when she sees Twilight nervously enter Sugar Cube Corner, which as you know is where Pinkie lives and works. Knowing that Twilight isn't really studying, Pinkie decides to investigate what's really going on. Using a tin can, Pinkie Pie eavesdrops on a conversation between Twilight and Mrs. Cake. Pinkie becomes even more suspicious when she hears that Twilight doesn't want Pinkie to know what she's up to. We also get a brief funny scene of Twilight getting her muzzle stuck in the tin can, and it has a pretty comedic after effect. Because of this, Pinkie starts following Twilight throughout Ponyville to see what she's up to, and uses the world's best disguise which we've seen in many other kids shows. You know, the big glasses, the fake nose, all of it. It's the perfect disguise. We then see Twilight arrive at Rarity's boutique and hands the package off to her. Having passed the package to Rarity, she takes it somewhere else. I just want to stop quickly and say I'm impressed Rarity can carry it in her tail hair like that. We then see that Pinkie Pie has improved her disguise by jumping into a hay barrel. Why did she keep the glasses? I don't know. I stopped questioning why Pinkie does stuff a long time ago. Rarity is then seen meeting up with Fluttershy, and Pinkie Pie has added to her disguise again with a hat and a trench coat. If you ask me, she's made herself really obvious by this point, and she learns they truly did make up excuses to make sure they didn't have to go to the party she was throwing. They then say what they're doing is going to be so much better. Rarity then hands the parcel off to Fluttershy, who also starts taking it somewhere else. Pinkie Pie nearly blows her cover when she crashes into Fluttershy, but thankfully Fluttershy is spooked by her appearance and quickly takes off with the package in her mouth. Pinkie, however, is now getting upset as she thinks her friends don't actually love her parties. Then Rainbow Dash passes her and actually recognizes her. But upon seeing her, Rainbow Dash gets worried and takes off with a suspicious bag. We then get another great Pinkie Pie chase scene like we saw in the Griffin episode, and in my opinion, they actually upped the comedy on this one. After Rainbow Dash stops, Pinkie magically appears in the barrel right in front of her, so Rainbow Dash takes off again and hides in the bell at the Ponyville school. But of course, Pinkie Pie is already there, and she's disguised herself as the thing that rings the bell, which is just absolute genius. Rainbow Dash then takes off towards a high cliff, and this leads to my favourite moment of the episode. Not only is Pinkie Pie there waiting for her, but she actually gives her a hand up. Absolute brilliance. Pinkie demands to know what's in the bag, but Rainbow Dash takes off again. Instead of predicting where she'll turn up and appearing in front of her, however, Pinkie just decides to chase after her. And amazingly, Pinkie is able to keep up even with Rainbow Dash flying. Applejack and Rainbow Dash then head into the barn of Sweet Apple Acres and close the door behind them. Pinkie then knocks on the door and demands they let her in. However, Applejack says Pinkie Pie can't come in as they're currently renovating the barn. Then she gets the other main characters to make some very obvious construction sounds, you know, like jackhammers and drills and all that other stuff, and obviously Pinkie isn't convinced. After an intense stare down, Pinkie agrees to leave, but she is definitely more suspicious than ever. Annoyed that all her friends are keeping secrets from her, Pinkie is determined to find out the truth, and she knows just who to talk to. Of course, it's Spike. She's able to get him to come by offering him a lot of gems. Pinkie says Spike can have the gems on one condition: he has to talk. And she even sets it up like an interrogation by shining a light in his face and having Gummy hold him in place. Again, they should be really glad Gummy has no teeth, because something tells me that should hurt even without teeth. Unfortunately, Spike misinterprets what Pinkie means and just starts talking about things like the weather, but then Pinkie clarifies that she wants Spike to talk about their friends. Unfortunately, this just leads to him sprouting off some random facts about their friends. However, at this point, Pinkie is losing her patience. Then she demands Spike confess. However, he doesn't confess what she wants him to confess. First, he confesses that he spilt juice on one of Twilight's books. He used up all the hot water in Ponyville the day before because he took a 7-hour bubble bath. And when no one's around, he looks at himself in the mirror and gives himself compliments. However, this just drives Pinkie more crazy, and it's hilarious to see. It's at this point, Spike just begs Pinkie to tell him what she wants him to say. Pinkie wants Spike to tell her that her friends are avoiding her because they don't like her parties and don't want to be her friend anymore. Spike then regurgitates the words back to Pinkie, who is briefly happy that she thinks she's finally discovered the truth. However, then reality sets in on Pinkie Pie, and she has a complete mental breakdown as her mane deflates like a balloon. For the next scene, we now see Pinkie's descent into madness. She's thrown the party she wanted to, but not with the friends she planned to invite, but a whole heap of inanimate objects. She calls a bucket of turnips Mr. Turnip. She calls a pile of rocks Rocky. She calls some lint Sir Lincelot. And finally, she has a bag of flour which she's given a French accent and called Madame La Flower. Pinkie only gets crazier when the inanimate objects seem to start moving on their own and saying how glad they are that the other ponies didn't turn up. However, we then cut back to reality, where it's seen that Pinkie is still manipulating them, but again, she's just gone completely mad. However, then Rainbow Dash appears and asks Pinkie if she can come with her to Sweet Apple Acres. However, Pinkie declines, saying she's spending time with her real friends. However, Rainbow Dash is creeped out by Pinkie's attitude and the fact that she's calling random objects friends. Again, I love the insanity of this episode. Rainbow continues to insist that Pinkie should come with her, but then Pinkie starts using the other objects to tell her to go away, and Rainbow Dash is briefly convinced by this as she actually talks back to the pile of rocks. Thankfully, Rainbow Dash is able to come back to reality and tells Pinkie Pie that they need to go, but Pinkie continues to refuse. Then she tries to push Pinkie out, but Pinkie is shown to be quite strong, and she refuses to the point that she sits on Rainbow Dash. Thankfully, however, Rainbow Dash does manage to drag her to Sweet Apple Acres. When they get there, it's revealed they've thrown Pinkie Pie a surprise party. However, Pinkie isn't thrilled, as she thinks this is a farewell party for her. Again, Pinkie's insanity cracks me up. It's then revealed that they were only avoiding her because they didn't want to ruin the surprise, and if you read the cake they got her, it actually says, "Happy birthday, Pinkie Pie." That's right, it's Pinkie's birthday, and they were just throwing a surprise party for her. Don't you love it? And realizing what's going on, her mane inflates back to life, and she's overjoyed at the realization that her best friends have thrown her a birthday party. She's so happy because she knows that her friends like her so much that they threw a surprise party for her. She even calls them the best friends ever. And I kind of have to agree. Pinkie then apologizes to them, but they say not to worry about it because it could have happened to any of them. The party then begins, and they have a great time like they did before. The episode then closes like usual, with a monologue from Twilight as she writes her letter to the princess. She explains that the lesson she learnt about friendship is to always expect the best from your friends, because a good friend always has your best interests at heart. While I do understand the lesson from this episode, I just watch it to get a good laugh from time to time, because Pinkie is just an absolute crack-up in this episode. Her growing suspicion of her friends, her descent into madness, honestly, it makes me laugh so much, and I absolutely love this episode. Like I said, probably the funniest of Season 1. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next review.